Thank you, Greg. So I think we've heard four very different perspectives on how the education system is transitioning Uyghurs into Chinese language only schools. I think we heard a very interesting account from Nigara from the student's perspective, and also from Ilsha, who as a teacher saw the effects that it had on the Uyghur staff at various educational institutions which he taught. And I think that also following on from that, with Zubaida and Greg, certainly Zubaida's presentation talks about some of the personal effects of these policies, and Greg did a great job of recapping the bilingual education from the policy, the sort of the top-down perspective on this. We're going to move to the Q&A, so if you have any questions, please be free to ask them. Let's just say we can use any language, right, to ask our question, right? You can use English, Chinese, Uyghur. I speak Polish too. If you want to say it in Polish, I'll try my best and translate that if that's okay. But I think that this is truly a really good opportunity to speak to people who have been there, who have actually experienced this, and of course somebody who, Greg, who has put a lot of his academic study time into studying the bilingual education policy. So please, feel free to ask any questions.
I add one thing first.
Sure.
When I teach Chinese language to my student in that technical college, I was responsible for one class, Polish minority, and I'm teaching them the Chinese language. And after they were 3 years, they needed internship. I went to Sawan County, one textile factory, with my Han Chinese boss from my cafeteria. And then when we inside the leadership of the factory, on the gate entrance, they have big statue. One minority girl holding something, and another one minority girl is dancing. So I was so impressed. Okay, at least we have something in here representing us. And then we went inside to the administration, and the factory boss was over there. We asked them for 2 months internship. Oh, we don't accept any minority. They said, why? Oh, they can't speak Chinese well, and they have too many issues, problems, we can't handle them. I said they can speak Chinese, and they were well educated, and this is our education system. You guys should support us. No, I don't have time to support you guys. Minority, I don't accept any minority. So go other way. And then I was getting angry. I said, this is a Uyghur Autonomous Region. You can't reject minority in here. You want me to go to Sichuan or to Shanghai? And my boss said, no, don't get mad in here, and we will help. So we come to school. That day we couldn't solve this internship problem. So after that, I was teaching again the Chinese. After the internship, we find other place. And one student, I remember his name, Mardan. He's from Maita. And when I was persuading the Uyghur student and Kazakh minority, say, study hard, learn this Chinese. If you learn very well in Chinese, you can find a job, you can. The Mardan stand up. Teacher, did you remember that day when we were over there to the factory? They said, no minority. I was speechless. I don't know how to explain to him. I don't know how to continue my persuasion. Say, learn Chinese, you can get employment. Because that was very tangible things over there. So if you learn Chinese, it doesn't mean guaranteed work or you have the chance. No, it's still no job. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, let's go with this lady over here with the glasses. Yeah.
Me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. A reporter from Voice America. I'm just wondering, could you elaborate a little bit more on the education system in Xinjiang? Because in East Turkestan, I'm reading this essay that say I think the author mentioned that previously you have Uyghur school, and now you have Chinese schools, have Uyghur school and Chinese school. Then later on they mix them together. So what is the school like now? It's just a mixed school. They enroll both Chinese and the Uyghurs, and they teach in Chinese and in Uyghurs, or even 10 Chinese has to study Uyghur. So what is it like? Thank you.
Okay, so actually the high school I'm from is exactly the same as you said. So when you know, it's totally separately. So when you work in the school, there is a two side of the building. So the side right side up here is gonna be Chinese school book class building. So it will be full of Chinese student and like student like me, Min Kao Han there. And this side will be Uyghur campus. So it will be all Uyghur student there. But except the Uyghur class, all of the instruction was Mandarin Chinese, and most of the teachers are Chinese also. And even for the class, we have, because I have a couple of friends, they're from the Uyghur campus there. So sometimes at the lunchtime we sit together, and we were at the same age, so we were like able to talk about what we learned from class. And then I was surprised because the thing they will learn is just like. It's as simple as something from like middle school, and I was so surprised. And then, but the thing we learned from the Chinese campus is totally different. Like exactly like the regular way we prepare for college, but even the math, like English, everything for them is everything from basic. So it's even they make school together, but under the same name, there is totally two different words. But for Chinese, the Chinese part, they don't have to learn English at all. And yeah, so. Oh, sorry, they don't have to learn Uyghur at all. Oh,
so it's two campuses in the same school.
Yeah, two campuses, but it's different side of the building, and they won't have a chance to be together. Even with sometimes when we have like a New Year or some meeting, we have different ways to celebrate. So we're gonna celebrate first, and after we left, and they walk in, and they will celebrate their own way, and that's it. And sometimes if we do have some meeting or the thing we have to be together, it's kind of like once a year we can see this side of the people, and even we wore the same uniform, everything. And yeah, but all the meeting, everything was spoken by Chinese. Yeah, so if as long as the Chinese campus we there, we never get a chance to learn my mother tongue. So yeah, so this.
So this situation, school system actually starts from the kindergarten.
Yes.
I can add a little bit more onto her, because what she is talking about probably the current situation right now, what's going on. Maybe she's like my my daughter, because that's what they have been experienced. But when we were studying in East Turkestan, while I was there, because I haven't visited for a long time, but what my experience is, at that time we really had truly kind of Uyghur language schools. I mean, all the schools, so all Uyghurs, mostly they went to Uyghur school, from elementary all the way to high school. Even after completion of the high school, the Uyghurs had a choice. They can either go to Chinese schools, Chinese universities in China, mainland China, or they can stay in East Turkestan, like if they go into Xinjiang University. The Xinjiang University was taught completely in Uyghur. Even in the university, the Uyghur language will exist as the language instruction in the university as well, university level. The only the Chinese language used as instruction was at medical university, industrial university, and a few other universities. I guess even Alim is here, he also in the same situation. But and also, if you go into mainland China to study in Chinese universities, and you have to do Yukobo, which is for high level, Zhongyan Dashi kind of is high level university entrance, you have to do 2 years intensive advanced Chinese course, which we have done. And after that, you can go to China. study in mainland China. But since you talked about education system, in East Turkestan we truly had perfect, real Uyghur education system, because that I can tell from my parents' experience. Like for that one, I can tell you one example. When after Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region established, the high-level leadership of Zhongyang came to East Turkestan. At the time, Zhou Enlai was there, and also few high-level leadership was there. And when they visited whole East Turkestan, especially with the education system and schools, everything, and they said, we can say that, in fact, China, the mainland China, the whole system is very behind of East Turkestan. I mean, they say Xinjiang. In fact, whole China should learn or adopt the system, the education system they have in here. Why they say that? Because that was really valuable, because actually there is a document about writing of this saying said by Zhou Enlai or someone. Because the most of the teachers, everyone will educate in East Turkestan, which that education system inherited from the first East Turkestan Republic establishment. And after educated here, the Uyghurs had a choice to study either in East Turkestan continuously, or go to China, or go to Russia, or even in Western countries. Like for example, my uncle, he studied in Russia, Moscow. And my auntie, she studied in Harbin, Shanghai. Harbin. But it was in 50s. She completed Harbin Medical University in, I think 1952. And came to Urumqi and took a lecture position within the medical university. And the students, the Uyghur students who studied in Germany, even there were students who studied in Germany, Turkey definitely, and in Russia. Those intellectuals came back to East Turkestan. Again, they took up many, many important roles within the education system. So the education system of Uyghurs are flourishing, because it's a mix of Uyghur as well as Western and other kind of education system influence. So it was very heavy. And as a result, there was just a fantastic flourishment of education development, which is far more upfront compared to in the China, mainland China. And one example that personally I know is establishment of Academy of Science of East Turkestan, but now it's Zhongguo Keshuyuan Xinjiang Fungyuan, where I worked even myself after completion of the university. Again, it was established all the intellectuals, all the intelligent who studied abroad, even including Middle East, Germany, Russia, and even in China. There are all intellectuals, Chinese intellectuals from Beijing University, who completed in the 50s. Very well educated people from Moscow, very well educated from other places. They established the Academy of Science. And then now, later, all history is changed. They say it was just a branch, part of, Xinjiang Fungyuan, the part of China. And then later, one by one, later in the 50s, the first what Chinese government did is they killed intellectuals. Everyone was sent down to somewhere else, countryside, either killed or imprisoned or sent away or made them crazy. You can see lots of intellectually, mental, ill, crazy people in East Turkestan. They were in fact the foundation of education system of East Turkestan. So that was a system. That system, in fact, later after Deng Xiaoping's open up policy, it again came back a little bit because of that policy. Some intellectuals who didn't die, who hasn't been killed by Chinese government, released from prisons. Again, personally, I can tell one of my uncle was one of them. He spent his 13 years life in Parang jail, and later they have been released. Some of them, they reinstate the position back to education system. They taught in the schools. The thing, because like for example, personally, I have very deep influence from high school teachers, because we've been taught those kind of intellectuals who has purely truly knows what's Uyghur education, what they have learned before, and that's what they taught us. Although we had the Chinese education system in Xindagang, which is the Chinese education instructor, but the teachers would teach what they know, what they have in the mind. They don't always follow what's written in there, because they are intellectuals, they are intelligent people. So what we learned from school is what's left from the back at the times. So I really admire, because when we finished high school, getting into Chinese universities, we were loved by Chinese intellectuals too. Like a lot of lectures, they just amazed to teach us, because what we learned, what we instruct is learning everything lively, not sitting in bed. Lively, be open, be friendly, talk, speak, think, and question. That's how we learned, how we taught. That was our system. But that things since 90s, one by one, step by step, all destroyed. Now, if you ask from any Chinese, they say, oh, Uyghurs didn't have anything. They were very backward. They never had any education system, no universities. They were just, live like you. Even in China, some Chinese students say, oh, you're from Xinjiang. Oh, okay, we only heard that only animals, the camels and some, talking. It's grassland is there, nobody lives there. Is that true? That's how Chinese government brainwashed other Chinese people. In fact, we were not. And we didn't die, we're still there. We're still inheriting what's been established in East Turkestan Republic, and it's continuing in our blood. And that was the system, and that was perfect. Everybody liked it. When we came to China, mainland China, studied in Chinese universities, what Chinese teachers said us, this is what we want to see in our Chinese people. This is what we want to see. Our Chinese kids stand up, question us. Stand up saying, look, what you're saying, is that what it is? Is that true? That mind, that's what we want to see. But thank God you have it. But in our lecture, it's only 1 or 2 Uyghur students. In the rest of the whole Chinese school, they just sit down, Xie right? But only students who listen to lecture is 3 to Uyghur students, and we listen, we respect, because she is talking there. She tried to teach you something, tell you something what that person knows. And that was the education system that we have been through. That was the education system that the Uyghurs had. Do we have it now? Ask from them.
I add one thing. When you ask the merged school if they are the Chinese students learning the Uyghur language, absolutely no Uyghur language in that merged school, mostly. I don't know she has that. Okay. When our college started the whole Chinese education, even the teacher, when we was speaking with each other, Uyghur teacher with Uyghur teacher in Uyghur language, one time my party boss came in. Ilshad, you need to speak the Goyi. And I told him, this is Uyghur Autonomous Region. I'm speaking, practicing my right. And he said, do you want to keep your job or you want to practice your right? That's the situation. No Uyghur language. Now, even the student within the yard of the vicinity of the school, not allowed to speak Uyghur with each other, even Uyghur with Uyghur. You have to speak Chinese. Go back home if you want to speak Uyghur.
So, sorry, there is no Uyghur school now in Eastern Turkestan, or they have?
Merged.
I'm still confused. They have merged school, they have Uyghur school, they have Chinese school, 3 kinds of schools?
Until 2015, the most Uyghur school was merged with the Chinese school. And in this school, even with elementary, only the Uyghur language literature was taught in Uyghur. Other than that, from the grade 1, math, anything else, all Chinese. And their plan is until 2020, they will merge all Uyghur schools. No more independent Uyghur school. That's their plan.
Just the one additional for that one, the merging, in the matters of merging, what happened was, the one way is like for example, as I told you before, there was Uyghur schools, right? Independently operated, everything's in Uyghur. And since that bilingual education policy, they start to merge, to amalgamate schools one to another. But I just don't understand what's the point of doing it. You know, if you try to implement a bilingual education, why not just as is, leave it there? You know, like in this report, I wrote my experience. I had, you know, my school, the way I started is number 2 high school in Wulja, and this has been amalgamated with number 6 high school, which is, it used to be Chinese school. Again, that was Chinese school for a long time, and the bigger school, that number 2 high school, has over 100 years history. And it was there, and that school was very famous. And the influence of in education history or any history, it was just great school, and everybody really liked it, admired. Even one of the high-level leadership of Chinese government kind of praised, you know, celebrate 100 years anniversary, all kind of things. And since with the name of merge, what has happened is they brought Chinese students into that school. And there are Uyghur students there and the Chinese students there. At the same time, they completely destroyed the building. I don't understand. I mean, the thing is, that building could stay another 100 years because it was very strong and well built. And it's not like other things, because I can see in here very old house of over 200 is still standing, and nothing has happened because of the older construction, but very strong. But the thing is, at the same time, they're bringing in the Chinese students into Uyghur students and completely destroying everything, including the building, the physical appearance, as well as the environment of teaching, completely. It looks like a Chinese school. Again, the inside school, the so-called bilingual education, everybody thinks, oh, okay, here is the Chinese students, here is the Uyghur students, probably they're going to be just the perfect bilingual education kids will come up. If that's the case, why don't you teach all Chinese students of Uyghur as well at the same time? You're only teaching Chinese to Uyghurs in that school. Yes, there are 2 types of kids there. One side is Chinese, as she said, one side is Uyghur. The so-called name is bilingual. Why don't you teach Uyghur to Chinese as well? Here we go, bilingual education. So Chinese can be bilingual, Uyghurs can be bilingual. We create just a fantastic society. Isn't it great? If Chinese also knows Uyghur language, if you know Uyghur language, you'd be able to speak whole Turkic language. You can speak Kazakh, Tatar, Kyrgyz. Maybe it's beneficial for Chinese to expand whole authority to whole Central Asia. Why don't you do it? But the thing is, issue is India, it's nothing to do with implementing genuine, true kind of bilingual education. What happened now, the school, as you asked, in the name is a school that they're establishing or creating, newly established a new school, but what's happening is assimilation. Except, see the Chinese.
Let's, Peter?
Thank you. Peter Hickman, former USI Foreign Service officer, and now a member of the National Press Club, and as Mr. Saitoff knows, 2 years ago, had the great honor of introducing Korea Kadir at the Press Club. My question focuses on the languages too, but Mr. Fate, as an American, you studied Uyghur in China. How did the Chinese system like that? Well, I didn't do it. They didn't make any difficulty for you.
I had a very unique opportunity to study Chinese or to study Uyghur with Chinese students who were learning Uyghur as
private school or a public school?
Public school.
It was public school.
Public school is at Xinjiang Normal University. Kind of what you had asked, do Chinese learn Uyghur in their education? No, they do not. But it is an opportunity in university to study Uyghur as a college major. And when I say a choice, that's, actually it's not really a choice. Chinese students, they take their college entrance exams, and their scores determine what major they'll be able to study. It's basically assigned to them based on their score. And what I found with my classmates who were studying Uyghur as their college major was that basically they didn't test highly enough to get into majors that they wanted to study, mostly English. and they were basically assigned to study Uyghur. So their desire wasn't really there. It was a very lackluster group of students.
What puzzles me is the Chinese government is trying to wipe out the language, yet they're teaching it in their schools.
Yeah, so they're teaching it at the university level, and so why are they doing that? I mean, one of the major tracks that those students will go on is public security. It was very gendered. All the men were going towards public security.
Public security?
To become
Yeah,
police.
for that I add one. I heard one learned the Chinese guy learned Uyghur in Xinda University. He told me in Xinda the Chinese guy will say 哭着进来笑着出去 learn Uyghur language as major. 哭着进来
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Essentially.
that makes perfect sense.
Also, I mean, and for the vast majority of my female colleagues or classmates, they were going to become teachers. As I said, there's a vast shortage of bilingual teachers who can teach the Chinese language to Uyghur students. So the career track that they were on was
To teach it in.
to
Uyghur,
teach
using Uyghur as
Chinese
language
to
instruction.
Uyghur students. I mean, but I kind of just jumped in. So it was a unique opportunity. They let me just sit in on this class, and I went into the third year. And in their third year, these students were still speaking a very rudimentary level Uyghur. I had only studied for a few months back in the States, and then, was able to be on the same level as them, more or less. I mean, the way their education had been set up, they memorized a lot of vocabulary, but they still didn't have any conversation
Where did you
skills.
study it in the States?
Here, I went to Brown. I studied East Asian
And
studies.
Uyghur language?
I studied I studied that at Indiana University. So Indiana University is the hub here for Central Asian language education.
Yeah.
So I did a summer program and then went to East Turkestan and learned Uyghur with these Chinese students. It was a weird experience. I mean, they were shocked that I had any interest in learning the Uyghur language because so many of my classmates themselves were reluctant in the major. They felt forced to study that major, and for them what was kind of the most disappointing thing about their major was, so many Chinese, so many Han people who live in East Turkestan today are recent immigrants. If they didn't immigrate in their own lifetime, that their parents immigrated. And they still have their ancestral land is in eastern China. I mean, they want to leave East Turkestan and make more money maybe in eastern China. I mean, that seemed to be the common dream of my classmates studying Uyghur. So, they were doing their best to pass the tests, but their heart wasn't really into it.
When's your book coming out on this?
I'll go to the next question here. Dr. Yang.
Yeah, my name is Yang Jianli, Chinese human rights activist. Thank you, first panelists. And I want to congratulate you for the launching of the International Uyghur Language Day. So we will observe this day. We all understand language is a major part of identity. So it's really, really imperative to do something to save Uyghur identity. This is the Chinese government has been trying to diluting and eventually destroying the identity of Uyghur people. So we all know that. But I want to come to the practical questions. Is there any effective measure inside Eastern Turkestan or overseas to push back the trend of the simulation, of the diluting, destroying on the part of Chinese government? So I want to know if there anything we can do here to help. So I just want to come to the practical things.
Yeah, I can just start with something probably other my friends can add. In terms of, I don't know what's going on in East Turkestan right now. I mean, definitely, although...
Is there any movement pushing back this trend inside Eastern Turkestan?
Inside East Turkestan,
Xinjiang?
I'm not sure that the only thing is the people conscious about what's going on to Uyghur people, what's going on to the languages, and how they can protect. I mean, they're trying in different ways to resist this climate. I can see, like, for example, Dukpa Festival, and they try to learn language like herself. You know, she learned Chinese all the way from kindergarten until completing high school, but still she has kind of feeling, at least, you know, because of her inheritance, she just wanted to learn bigger kind of situation. It's happening, which is, I'm very hopeful from that side of thing. But in terms of abroad, in other countries, that person I can tell that the establishment of Uyghur schools is one of the signs that we wish to encounter what's the Chinese government doing to Uyghurs. Like, as Henrik mentioned at the beginning, that today is a day that the Umar Foundation in Pakistan, right? Yeah, they established the Uyghur school. Like, personally, I am from Australia originally, and the Uyghur school in Australia established, I think, 17th. This year is 19th year. We established in 1994. That school, now it's kind of almost formal and gets funding from the Department of Education as well as other non-profit supporting organizations. And what we try to do that teach Uyghur language at the same time Uyghur history as well as culture. And that is the initiatives that we try to do abroad, and not only just in Australia. That is happening even in America. It happened for a while, but still we're trying to continue. In Europe, yes, it is happening, continuing. In Turkey, it's very flourishing kind of, and it is happening. That's what we try to do outside of East Turkestan. But I'm sure inside of East Turkestan, there are, the Uyghurs have that intention. The problem is, as you know, the pressure by the Chinese government is they try to different way to stop or suppress in this kind of things. It's, even if Dukpa Bayram was seen by the Chinese government as it's threat to the authority, that means you can see, that again tells you that the bilingual education policy is not just a purely education policy. It is kind of assimilation policy. Because why are you getting so paranoid just because of people wearing dukpa and going out saying that I'm a Uyghur? And that can tell something. So again, the imprisonment of Abdulwali Ayub, as Greg said, he was only trying to establish Uyghur language kindergarten. And it's private. It's nothing to do with the government. And he didn't do any illegal thing. Again, it complies with the regional government law or everything. But that kind of things are happening. That hopefully it will happen more. And yeah, that's our hope. That, I mean, no matter what, the Uyghurs won't lose or won't stop to keep up with the culture and the language.
How about anybody else on the panel? This is an
I
interesting question.
I add a little bit.
Yeah.
In inside East Turkestan, the situation is very dire now because the government intention, because bilingual education is not about education, as Zubair said. It was strategically planned to take away Uyghurs' culture, identity, and even Uyghurs' pride. So if you look at it, one example, when I was teacher, in our reading library, they have all newspaper in Chinese, but in Uyghur only the Xinjiang Ribao. You know, the Uyghur version of Xinjiang Ribao, it's a trash. Nothing you can get from there. So it was forced Uyghur students have to read the Chinese news. And even the CCTV's news, Uyghur at the time, before I left, was 1 day behind. And before I left, it was like half hour behind. I'm not sure now. I mean, even any information, if you want to follow up with the world news, even the very simple, you are forced to learn Chinese. You get information from Chinese because the Chinese government wants to take off everything. So, when you read the Chinese version of newspaper, journal, TV, they all washing Uyghurs' brain, saying Uyghur culture is backward, Uyghurs' religion is backward, Uyghurs' everything is backward. So over there, the situation is very dire. Uyghur is resisting, as Zubaida said. I called some of my friends, say they are hiring a private tutor to come to home to teach Uyghur language for their kids because the school is not enough.
Yeah, can I follow up?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned pride, the national pride of Uyghurs. I think it's so important. So why do we do something overseas? You know, we should make effort to get those Uyghur writing writers to get worth, international worth, including Nobel Literature Prize. You know, for the native Uyghur writing, in the native language writing. I've not heard of many. I haven't known, actually, any writer who writes in the native Uyghur language have won any international literature prizes or worth here. I have not heard anything like that. I believe there must be excellent writers who write in Uyghur language.
Our
So
talent is
they're
right always
qualified
in jail.
to win the world. Why don't we do something to promote the national pride of Uyghur and also at the same time promote the language?
That's a great idea. Probably the designation of this language day is probably would be the first step. Probably we could keep going.
Yeah, I don't know how easily to establish a language school online. I know there is a firewall, but if people inside Xinjiang, inside Eastern Turkestan, if they make enough effort, they can get around the firewall to get online, to learn the language. If we establish some language school online here to teach the language, teach mathematics in Uyghur language, teach everything in Uyghur language, and mobilize people inside to get online to learn. I don't know how much effort we have put it, how much resource we have to put into it. So sitting here, listen to guys, I'm just trying to find some way, some measures to, what we can do to help. I know in front of such big, powerful, evil state power, we may be just powerless. But we have to do something. We have to do something.
How about, sorry, yeah, you got it. Go ahead.
Actually, there is something I want to mention, you want them to learn their own language first of all, you should let them understand. You should be proud of to be a Uyghur. Actually, to be honest, since I came to US, and then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm Uyghur. Oh, that's awesome. When I introduced to, I'm a service from a restaurant, so when the customer came and when they talked, they were interested in where I'm from. So when I introduced myself, they were like, wow, tell me more. But when I was in China, when I finally getting my dream university, my classmate, the first sentence they say to me is, wow, you're from Xinjiang? Are you guys ride a horse to school? Have you ever seen airplane? Do you know where there's a phone? I was like, excuse me, I'm still living on the planet. I know what is all of them, and we don't ride a horse, we have everything. I started to explain myself. I want to let them know, wait a minute, we're the same. I have everything you got here. And I'm better than you. What do you, excuse me? And then when I go to when we meet, and then let's say, example, I have a really best friend who from the Uyghur campus when I was in high school. She's great for Uyghur. She kind of like my little tutor for me, and she let me understand a lot of things more easily because we're at the same age. And she writes beautiful handwriting, everything. But recently when we talked, she said, you know what, I really want to change my identity to Chinese on my ID card. I said, what are you talking about? And she was like, I went to, I don't remember, at the break time, we went to Shanghai to play, but I couldn't open a hotel room because I'm from Xinjiang on my ID card. But my Mandarin is better than the service there. They were speaking like Mandarin not even better than me. But because I'm from Xinjiang, Uyghur, they didn't open a room for me. So actually I was planning for play there for a week, but I have to stay in McDonald's for a night and get a train, go back to my university the second day. And then I want to say something to her, but this is her life there. I'm here, I'm standing outside, I was looking at the inside, and I'm brought up here and to introduce myself to all American and people from the world. And they look at us fairly, and they want to know more about us. They feel like this is interesting, amazing. But in the land of China, my friend, they will feel shame to be a Uyghur there. Because as long as you are Uyghur...
That's great shame. That's great shame. So we should have a culture movement to promote national pride. You know, let everybody to say proudly, I'm a Uyghur. So maybe the title is a Proud Uyghur, something like that.
Yeah, you should let them know first. It's
not
a
something
bad
I
thing to
mean.
be a Uyghur there.
So I
until you
really
finish 2 years of preschool and kindergarten, then you can enter in preschool.
What was that, Gulajekra? Do you want to share that with everybody?
Yeah, you can.
The new policy is if you want to enroll in elementary school, you have to first finish the 2 years in kindergarten in so-called bilingual kindergarten, at least 2 years. Then you will be admitted to the kindergarten, the elementary school. So without that, like the teacher is level of the HSK, so it's same requirement, hard requirement.
Okay, we've got Amy, and I can see you there, Gulajekra. I won't ignore you for sure. Let's go to Amy, and then, but not least, right?
Amy Rieger from CECC. My question is primarily for Nidara. It's slightly off topic, but I hope you won't mind because I think it's related because it relates to educational opportunities and access to further studies and so on. My question is, when you were still in Urumqi, did Uyghur and other non-Han Chinese students have equal access to English language instruction, or was this restricted by Chinese authorities? Because I've heard various stories from various locations that the Chinese schools will limit the opportunities for language classes for Uyghur students. And is this still the case, or do you know what the current situation is?
Yeah, it's still the case, like for the Minhao Han student, because we don't have to learn Uyghur, so the second language for us will be English. So as long as we get into school the first day, we start to learn Chinese and English at the same time. So like for me, when I came to US, English is not really hard for me at all. So I got some basic already from there. We learn as hard as we can as the Chinese school. But in Uyghur class, I had my best friend from the Uyghur school, and she went to the university in Tianjin. And the thing she knows about English is like, let's see, introduce myself, like, hey, who I am, what I want to eat. That's it, so basic. But the same class, a Chinese student, they were fluently for English, at least grammar, like they were testing. So when she get into school, she has no idea with English class. And then the teacher won't understand this. So she has to come back for the like a vacation time. She has to go to like kind of tutoring class to learn more English to get like closer with her classmates. And in the end, the school find a policy because there is a lot of students from Xinjiang and they have same problem. So they open a different level of English school at university. So all Xinjiang students, most likely they are at the lowest level in university. At the same time, that's why the Chinese student was like, look down at you, was like, we're same age and we're in same school, you guys get a 50% extra point, and also you're at the lowest level for English. So there is another major issues about this problem also. So the Uyghur students were just so confused, what do you want me to do? Like, I have learned my language, and there is English, and now when I get in university, there is English class also. So it's kind of like make them so confused. Like that's why a lot of them start to totally give up on Uyghurca and go to an English school. That's it, and let me just be Chinese, and I learn Chinese, I learn English, and then the life will be peaceful, easier for me in East Turkestan. Even when you go to like inland, like Shanghai, Beijing, everything gonna be just easier. So they will start to giving up to get a chance to learn their native language, because all they want to do is just get a job and just get an easier life. Don't no more judgment. That's it. So,
Good
I am from Radio Free Asia. I only have one question for all the speakers. I just want to know what language you dream in. Dreaming. Kaystu'da düş görsler. Erbirola cevap getirsanlar sıkıntı
Your
çok
dream.
var.
What is that? You speak in dream?
Yeah, what language
Do they speak in the dream?
do you speak in your dream?
Uyghur's dream.
I guess from Statis side. I dream in Uyghur, but I have having had some issue. One is number. When it's come to number, telephone number, tablet, and even now I still have that, not so much, but still have. I have to read it in my mind first in Chinese, and then translate to English or Uyghur. Other than that, all is okay. Dream is also in Uyghur, but number. And it's common in most Uyghur, because that is a Minkahan or bilingual. Okay?
Especially the phone numbers.
Yeah, phone number. Yeah, that's
Partially
But I want to interrupt with a very technical question. I want to interrupt. So if there are Uyghur language books on all the modern technology, for example, the IT, which developed in the recent 2 decades, any complete textbook in Uyghur language? No, my question.
yeah, we had it before.
No, I just because of the control of the language in Xinjiang, I'm wondering if there is any complete textbook on
we had encyclopedia with the Uyghur language.
Yeah.
We translated it all in the Russian version and also in British encyclopedia. Yeah, we had it.
Yeah, Uyghur education level is
Certainly,
very
there's
high.
websites dedicated to every area of technology,
Every area,
medicine.
every,
I mean, many of those
up to
websites,
date things.
many of those
language.
were taken down by the
literally,
Chinese government
but
in
literally.
2009.
In terms of technical, you're saying, especially technical and the scientific languages. In fact, for Uyghurs, it's easier because what we use, like for example, for Uyghurs, in chemistry, physics, mathematics, because what they was, we use the international language, which is mostly English. Like the all element name everything exactly as is other Western country and other people use, because that's Uyghurs is international. The standard, everything we use is international. That's how we inherited the education system. That's what it was for us. It was very easy actually, much more easy than Chinese language. You know, Chinese students surprised when we know all the names of elements, especially in physics, math, and chemistry.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, how did you know? And we said, it's how we learn in high school, because that's how we memorized everything. Because we know. That's we know.
So
It is there
dreaming
already.
of Russian
And the
or
new
Sorry
technology.
for the interruption. Go ahead.
Now back to the dream. I don't know what I'm dreaming now. Every day fighting with Chinese government.
Then you dream in Chinese?
No, I don't dream Chinese because it's been too long. And only if I write in Chinese, I'm dreaming. But otherwise, we will. Yeah.
How about you?
For me, it's English. I mean, when I lived in East Turkestan, I spoke like really this mixed up language that was Chinese, Uyghur, English all together, because most of my friends could speak Uyghur and could speak Chinese and could speak a little bit English. So at that time,
Nightmare.
I think I would even know. And to me, that language is very comfortable, and I understand why it's not, you know, the ideal language for a lot of things, but I think I have dreamed in that mixed up language of Chinese, English, Uyghur.
How about you before and now? Is it same?
To be honest, now I'm dreaming about English because I'm taking summer class and it's
Right now.
5 hours every day. So I have to think about my essay,
How about-
my assignment. So
So in your
English,
childhood, when you are taking Chinese education, those times, you dreaming about dreaming in Uyghur or Chinese?
oh, Chinese, even
Chinese.
now, except the English, like sometimes jump up English dream, all of them are Chinese. Even now, when I'm speaking, like daily conversation is fine, but when I'm speaking something little formal, I have to, as he said, like Chinese first and introduction period, and I will translate it
Then
back to
translate.
Uyghur. So sometimes doesn't make sense even for my father. My father was like, "What are you talking about?" And I said it's Chinese, and he was like, "Oh, I got it." And I feel like, okay, am I Chinese Uyghur? And I was like middle side of them, so it kind of
I
like
wish
bother me a
you
lot.
can dream in Uyghur one day.
Getting better, hopefully.
Are there any more questions? We've got about 5 minutes left. No,
I can add one thing from the switch, from my experience. When I was, when we go to university in Dalian, we are all from East Turkestan. We have some Chinese students. One shift now is, at the time when we...
新疆班
Xinjiang ban, yes. First year Xinjiang ban, second year not. And then in all our class, when we see the vegetable onion, we see piazza. Everyone know what is piazza. And chamagur. When we say chamagur, everyone knows that's biji, the small stuff. Now, Uyghur students say yuancong. In even some Uyghur, in Uyghur language, they brought Chinese version. Now it's switch. And when I was kid in Ulja, a lot of Chinese can speak Uyghur. And when they say Chinese, they have the Uyghur version. Zolnugo, Lainugo. But now, Uyghur is switching to the Chinese, even in the tone. So it's a big switch.
So the policy is working.
Policy is working.
Well, I want to say thank you very much for coming today, and also thank you very much to our panel. I think we've got a very thorough discussion on bilingual education. A round of applause, please, for our